she nerded out about this stuff. So I'm learning to be a nerd as well, so that I can be even more powerful. But the part that I was always good at was the messaging and the branding. So that's all part of,
it's arguably the most important piece.
It can't. Well, it's rule number 1 of the book. But the thing is, I'm learning. I just learned this past week that the marketing is the first step of the business process, not the sales. See, Joey and I, first thing I did was call salespeople. Well, that's because we were hungry. We had to eat. So let's sell something and then we'll figure the rest out, because sales cures all. But the business cycle should look like this. Marketing, and the best marketing is telling a story. So maybe it is the most important part, but you gotta be able to get your audience seen. So
right.
If I had in other words, it wasn't the most important part. It had to go hand in hand with the audience, because I'm from Broxton, Georgia. I was in Kansas City. Okay. That's an awesome message. But if I had just shared that on my Facebook page, all my Broxton friends would have seen it, and nobody was coming to Shawnee Mission to buy a vehicle. So you got to have the audience. You got to have someone's attention. The audience is the most important part. You can have a poor ad and sell something if the audience is right. If your ad is super, but your audience is out of your marketplace, then it doesn't matter.
Great way to put it.
Yep,
absolutely.
So see, that's what this show is about. You put smart minds together, and then you come up with the truth. You have real conversations. So I'm gonna give a little bit of marketing advice. Marketing is telling a story. Marketing, the best way to tell a story is just talk about what's going on. And if you have something interesting and you can show the world that you're authentic and genuine, then people are going to get behind you. They're going to support you. They're going to believe in you. They're going to help you. They'll even buy your product. So, one of my rules of salespeople, I've trained a ton. I've trained thousands of salespeople. I've trained hundreds that went on to be managers. And one of my first rules is don't be a salesperson, be an expert. So that's why, and I promise we're going to talk about your product, but we're not there yet.
Oh, that's fine.
You have some specialized knowledge and you're an expert. We're going to tell that story. We're going to show your expertise. And then we're going to talk about what the next thing is, which is creating leads. You already know that. And then sales. I'm going to help you with all that. So, but first of all, I want to go back to something you mentioned. See if I can remember it. You said it's more important to have the right offer for a small audience than.
Well, it's easier.
Easier. Okay.
It's easier to
explain that.
So it's easier. So it's going to be easier for me to find something that 10,000 people can relate to than 10 million.
Okay. Yes.
And so it's easier for me to craft that message specifically for small businesses that don't have these exorbitant budgets. It's very important to ensure that I'm not just blasting my message to 10 million people, because I'm going to burn through my budget, super fast. I'd rather find, how do I whittle this down to 10% of that people that will actually relate to what I'm trying to put out there and engage with it.
Right. Okay. And I totally agree. So especially for the small business. Okay. Now, but I've experienced a problem in marketing my business, and that's what I'm focusing on right now. Now the podcast works. The other networks, I don't like to say them on here because I know they're listening. If I promote the other places, then they're going to throttle my video. But there's other places where you can tell your story and get people to respond. There's other places where car dealers are hanging out. They may be hiring people, looking for hires, and they'll see you know what I'm talking about.
Absolutely.
So, and I want to get into that too. But Sarah, you and I have we have an amazing website, billymerritt.com, digininja.com. We have my personal Facebook page. We have my business page, where we try to, and we pretty effectively drive customers to get more information. We have, on those websites, we have the Digi Ninja chat. So if somebody goes to billymerritt.com, say, hey, can I speak to Billy? One of these guys back here, probably Jamie, if Jamie is available, is going to say, or Kevin's going to say, yeah, absolutely. I'll be happy to get Billy for you. My name's Jamie. I'm right here beside him. I'm his #1 manager. And it's a real person having a real conversation. And that works. Here's our challenge. Sarah and I have tried to use the most effective tool out there, which is Facebook, to reach more dealers. We've had success with email campaigns. We've had success with these other things we're talking about. But how can you take Billy Merritt marketing and reach car dealers?
Yeah, I think it's definitely difficult. It's not impossible. It's difficult. Reason being, you don't want everybody in, not everybody in that dealership can make the decision, right?
Mm-hmm.
The more people that know about it, the better. But what you're trying to do is reach decision makers and influence their decisions. So I think, one thing that might be interesting with geofencing is identify, groups that have multi-rooftops, where their headquarters is, place a geofence around the headquarters and blast it. Everybody that walks in that building sees, a Billy Merritt marketing ad or something like that. But
okay, I'm with you. Now I'm going to challenge you a little bit right there. First of all, I haven't been able, like when we try to target, we had a little bit of success targeting the NADA convention centers, and people who were there. There were thousands of car dealers there, and the other conventions we went to. But when I at least have tried to dial down the audience, okay, there's 325 million people in the United States. Now, if I could get all 325 million of them to see my ads, I would take all of that and like all the what's it called? All the trolls that get on there when somebody who's not in the car business sees one of my ads, they immediately start trolling and I don't care about that. I just hate that I wasted money on them. Right. Mm-hmm. So when I try to dial it down by sales or managers or whatever, I have a hard time finding that audience. I haven't been in there lately, but now I would take the dealership. So if you can help me, if there are any related to a dealership, if it's the service manager, I'd rather than be in sales, but here's something to keep in mind. The salesperson of today is the general manager of tomorrow.
Sure.
Okay. So, and also what you want inside that dealership is advocates. So if I walk into, and I've done it many, many times, I'll walk into a dealer showroom unannounced and I'll have my book and they say, hey, that's Billy. I know Billy and then next thing you know, they're telling the general manager who Billy is. He may not be on Facebook, but I have advocates in there. Oh, we got to do this,
Yeah. I think interesting. For business to business, Facebook is definitely, it's more peer-to-peer. Mm-hmm. As you can tell, we're going to talk about marketplace, but Facebook marketplace, it's all driven peer-to-peer. So it does make it difficult to advertise on a business to business level, which is why I think the organic stuff on Facebook is going to be most effective for you. So if you're wanting to increase your reach in the automotive business, and what I plan to do, I started making videos because you did. Mm-hmm. I said, these guys obviously have it. They're doing it. I need to do it. And so what I plan to do is have, internet managers, GMs, salespeople, everybody come on my podcast. Let's talk about it. You had a great month in sales. You sold 25 cars. Come on and talk about it. They're going to share that with all their people. Oh, I'm going on a podcast. I'm going to be live on Facebook. Everybody in that dealership is going to watch it.
Yeah.
And so that's how you can kind of grow on that business to business level over.
Well, now, and again, don't take this the wrong way, sure. But now I'm an expert at that. I
agree.
We do what, 150 events per month, Sarah?
Yes, at least, sometimes more.
Okay, so and that all comes from the network that I've built on the social media platform, and from doing that, and that got you involved, interested in what I do, and I reach out and reach up for my friends. For instance, here's someone that he's been following me a long time, and I tell the story. So this is what I want you to do, and again, I want you to help me, but you got to tell your story. And you got to continue to show people that you're an expert, and you just keep doing it. You keep persisting, and those people who are paying attention, you don't think they're paying attention, they're paying attention. And then this happened 5 times yesterday. So my sales team, they came to Paul and said, Paul, we've been training and on how to do cold calls and things like that. And it's tough. And some people accuse those who don't want to make cold calls to only wanting to grab the low hanging fruit. And I'm like, no, that's not right. You can do cold calls. And if it works for you, that's fine. If you don't want to, there's a smarter way. It's not it is easier, but it's also smarter. Market, tell your story, do the podcast, just like you're talking about. I told you over message, I said, keep doing those videos, man. They're great. You're great on camera. You're smart. It's obvious. Keep doing that. And then, that is the marketing side. And then you start creating leads. And anytime someone reaches out to you about your product, that's a lead. Okay. That came in yesterday. He's been friends with me for, I don't know, over a year. It's a dealership that you're familiar with, two dealerships. And, you know, the message came in. I'll post it after the show. He said, hey, how long does it take to do an event? And I said, you know, we like to have it Wednesday before the Sunday to start. And it was a long text conversation. The last message was, okay, let's do it for both stores. So that part I got. What I want to do is there's about 40,000 dealers. I want to reach all 40,000 of them. I want 40,000 of those dealers and their employees to know, because I do understand this, obscurity is my biggest enemy. Sure. And if I could reach all 325 million people with a compelling message and it was a positive ROI, I would do it. But the problem we've ran into, and again, I think
it's expensive.
It's expensive. It's not an ROI. It's not profitable. We spend more money than we make when we run those ads, and that's not a smart way. So maybe that's not the right platform, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
So we have YouTube, we have Google AdWords, we have the other networks. You know, are you familiar with running ads on there and getting what we need?
A little bit. Yeah. I think, you know, I think business to business, there's not a solid digital marketing playbook written because it's so new.
Okay. And there's your next $1 billion.
Yeah. And it's so new. These platforms are so new. Internet is so new. I mean, when you look at it, it's young, it's changing every single day. So as these companies like mine, like yours, start to bloom and grow, there was, look at it this way. There was nobody doing this before you did it.
Right.
So you've got nobody to look to and say, how did you do it?
Right.
You can only look at these larger companies that are old, antiquated. They're creating a market for you because they're old and they're not necessarily doing it the right way either.
Right.
So you got to forge a path and be creative. You're doing the right things by obviously the organic is huge, but by trying different things, seeing what works, what doesn't work. You know, there's no such thing as bad data.
Yeah, that's right. I'll try anything once. Sarah, what do you think? I mean, did we get some things wrong? Is there something we can do? Can we use Facebook to reach this target audience of 40,000 dealers? I know we've tried a few times.
We have tried a few times. And I think, you know, it's worth putting out a message sometimes just for, like we talked about very early in the show, brand awareness. When you're sticking that out there for the dealers, if we can get them, you know, in some of the cities with, if we can get around the dealership, if we can get around the rooftops, like he said, I think that's spot on. It is difficult, but I know that there's more luck in LinkedIn with business to business. And I've heard that the videos on YouTube are.
I'm not to say that name. They may suppress us. We've had high viewership. This is the whole time, but that's okay.
I will not say that. Then the other thing that has videos on it, it has higher viewership than network TV right now. So there are a lot of options for us to try as we move forward. I think we really have done our work on Facebook and we'll continue to do that. And then whatever we can get as it comes along, we'll just try it.